Family. There was a study done by the National Library of Medicine that stated that the higher degree of financial worry that someone had significantly correlated to the amount of physical and psychological stress that they were experiencing, right? So not only are you broke, you're stressed, depressed, and anxious too, right? So let's crush that anxiety and depression, family. Woo! We got something to get into today. Let's crush that with mindfulness on where we're putting our money. All right, let's hop right in. Family, a lot of you are stressed, anxious, and depressed, not because you don't make enough money, but because you're throwing it away. You're just throwing it away, right? Spending can actually be addictive. People can be addicted to spending. And so they do that. They're not mindful about what they're doing with their money. They're just spending it freely. All right. And we don't want to do that. We want to be mindful and have intention about what we're doing with our money. Okay. So that we're not just throwing it away. Because chances are you probably do make enough money. And if you don't feel like you do, you probably make enough to do something about it, right? But it's all about intention and what you're spending your money on. Pay attention to what you put your money towards. At this point, you should already have a budget, right? And if you don't, go back and watch my video on budgeting. We're not talking about your fixed and reoccurring expenses. Those you usually can't change. I'm honestly talking about your leisure spending. Where are you just throwing money away, buying extra food when you have food at the house, you know? Let's get intentional. Let's dive deep. Now, this video is not to say that you shouldn't spend money or have fun, right? But if you're struggling with bills and you're struggling to keep food on the table, there's no reason you should be going out and buying rounds for your friends, right? Well, honestly, I wouldn't be going out at all. Okay, we had to change our priorities, family. Like, a lot of us are just locking ourselves into these spending mindsets and not prioritizing our money. And then we lock ourselves into mediocrity because we're not willing to step back and be like, okay, this is stacking season. This is sowing season. All right. Everything is not a reaping season. Every day is not time for you to go flex and go spend all your money and go. It's not always that time. Sometimes it's time for you to work. Sometimes it's time for you to stack bread. Family, we have to prioritize and look at our lives. Like, be honest with ourselves. Like, do I need to be going and doing that? You know what I'm saying? If I don't even have this and that set up, be honest with yourself, family. We get too comfortable in our situations and then we lock ourselves into mediocrity. If you're struggling, do something about it. All right? It's like people will be broke and then they'll go spend their money on bullshit and then they're mad because they don't have money because they just spent their money on bullshit. So now they're in low energy because they just spent their money on bullshit. They're vibrating low. And now that you're vibrating low, you can't attract amazing opportunities to help you make more money than you ever imagined, right? Because you're in this low vibrating energy. If we're going to spend money, you guys, we want to spend it and be happy about it. All right. So if you're spending money on stuff, pay attention to how you feel afterwards because this could be a good indication of where you want to intentionally put your money. If every time you spend money on something, you just feel mad that you had to do it, then maybe you don't want to spend money there that much because that's putting you in a low vibration and is making it hard for you to attract more money and more opportunities, right? But if you're spending money on something and it brings you joy, everlasting joy, I'm not talking about joy right in that second. I'm talking about if it brings you everlasting joy, maybe you want to put your money intentionally more in that area, right? So that you are vibrating in this high vibrational level, so that you can attract amazing opportunities, so that you can attract boatloads of money, right? The main way you're going to do this is if you're vibrating high, if you're spreading joy and love into the earth. And if you're simply angry and mad and in these bad energy just because your money's low, that's where you need to look. What are you spending on that's making you so mad? And why are you spending all your money on it? All right. A tip that I like to do to make sure that I'm feeling good about where I'm putting my money is when I spend my money, I tell myself, just in my head, this is going to come back to me 3 times. And you have to believe it, right? You have to believe that money is going to flow to you from avenues that you may have never even thought of. You know what I'm saying? And just start somewhere. You might not believe it at first. I didn't believe it when I first started doing this, but I do now, family. So I'm a testimony that, like, if you continuously do something, you know what I'm saying, you will push the needle forward in that area. So if you don't feel it yet, don't just give up. You know what I'm saying? That good energy will come. You have to put the work in. Every time you feel that negativity creep up on you, recognize that. You know what I'm saying? And switch your mindset. Put different thoughts into your mind. We are in control of our thoughts and feelings. So if you're getting negative thoughts, think about that and be like, oh, whoa, I'm going to switch that around. Okay? That's all, family. It takes pressure off of you when you're spending too. If you tell yourself, okay, this is coming back to me 3 times, it brings your energy up instantly because now you don't feel like you're losing something. It's almost like it's an investment. All right. I want to tell y'all something. Like, I am very disciplined when it comes to my budget, right? I follow my budget religiously. So if there's no more money left in my budget for snacks, well, guess what? I'm not getting no more snacks until that budget gets replenished. All right. That's some of y'all's problems. Like, some of y'all don't have enough discipline and y'all are being weak minded. You can't trust yourself that you can go without something for a certain period of time, right? You don't need it every day. You know what I'm saying? You don't. You can go without stuff. And it's okay. We've all been there where we feel like, oh, I just need it, you know? But if the budget's gone for it, just don't do it. You'll be okay. You'll be okay until that budget replenishes or until you get more money to spend on that area, right? Have some discipline and strengthen your mind. You also got to trust and listen to when God is telling you no. When you get a bad energy or bad feeling when you're about to buy something, that could be God telling you, no, don't spend your money here. It's bad energy here. This item is going to bring you bad energy. You have to pay attention to how you feel and the energy that's around you when you're spending your money, right? Some of us we'll get that bad energy when we're about to spend the money and we'll just still do it. Nope, not anymore, family. We're not going to live in scarcity mode and believe there's only one chance to get something, right? Shit, I suffered from that before too. You got to get yourself out of that, right? You have to understand that if something is meant for you, it's always going to be meant for you. So if you don't have the money to get it right now, that's okay. It'll still be available when you do have the money to get it. And guess what, family? If it's not, it wasn't for you. And y'all have to understand that. What is for you is going to get to you no matter what. All right? So get out of that scarcity mindset thinking that as soon as you get money, you just have to get the stuff that you wanted so bad. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to, especially if all of your other financial affairs ain't in order. All right? That means that's not the time for that. So let some things go, and I bet they'll come back to you. And if it doesn't, it was never meant for you, or it's not meant for you yet. Okay? You want that super nice jacket. It costs a couple hundred, right? But you just can't bring yourself to buy it. Just like 300 for a jacket? Ooh, that's gonna probably bring you some bad energy if you get it. All your money is gonna be gone. But you know what that means, family? You're not there yet. All right? You're not to a financial level to afford that yet. And that's okay. That don't mean you can't never have it. It means not right now. Shit, I want a Porsche truck. But if I went and bought a Porsche truck right now, whew, that would put me in a hole. It's not to say that I'm never going to get my Porsche truck, but I'm letting it come to me when it's time. All right. And y'all have to understand not to attach to these items. It'll come to you when it's time. And if it's not coming, it's not time yet, or it's not for you. And you have to be okay with that. Be okay with what you have and what is for you. Because the things that you do have now, they were for you because you have them. All right. So be happy about those things. If you're following what I teach, you'll get there, family. I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? If you're putting your money in the right places and you're making sure that your money is not affecting your mental so much, and you're able to have a separation between them and still go out and do the things you need to do, you're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, family. We're gonna get there. We're walking the journey together. You will have everything you ever wanted in life, right? You can have that, but it takes time. Okay? It takes time. So, family, you need to start religiously following your budget. Okay? If you have this amount set up for something, only spend that amount, right? Because you want to eventually get to a point where you're having extra money left over. But if you're not committing to your budget, then you will never have money left over and you'll be stuck in the same spot in life, right? So you want to commit to your budget and stick to it. And then take that extra money that you have left over and start putting it into your liquid fund, right? This is different than your pay yourself fund. All right? Put it into your liquid fund. This is money that you can always access in case something comes up or you need to invest in something. You just have a stockpile of some money to go use, right? You don't want it to be too big, but you don't want it to be too small. And I'll make a separate video talking about this, but it's a little bit too much to get into right now for the purposes of this video. But yes, follow your budget religiously so that you can start putting your extra money into a liquid fund. Once you have that money in a liquid fund and it's built up, right, you could start investing that into another fund, which could be either an IRA, a 401k, a stock investment that will build over time, right? But my biggest tip when it comes to finances, right, is you just have to have gratitude. It's really comes down to that. Like being grateful for what you have and being grateful for what's going to come. All right, family. And you have to accept where you're at as well. Don't try to act like you're somewhere that you're not. All right. Because people who do that are going to also continuously fall into these traps of buying things that they can't necessarily afford or, yeah, just spending money in areas that are not meant for them to spend money in energetically. You know what I'm saying? You have to accept where you're at and where you can spend money and what you can afford, okay? And the reason why you want to accept it is because you're not stuck there, right? Just know that this is where I'm at now. But if you don't see where you're at now, you don't know how to get where you need to go. All right? So accept where you're at and be grateful about where you're at and take the steps that you need to take to push the needle forward and to get to that next step that you want to get to. You're not stuck anywhere, family, But having good money habits will make a path where more money can come to you, and it's going to be more clear and more evident. All right? Except that you might have made some financial mistakes, right? We've all made financial mistakes in our lives. Accept that you made those mistakes. All right? And do what you need to do to right those mistakes. All right? Don't just keep going and making more mistakes. No. Recognize, all right, this was wrong. I made this mistake. I didn't pay off this bill and it got huge, or I did this or did that. Recognize that and learn from it. What a lot of us do is we'll make these financial mistakes and we're too scared to even look at it, right? So we don't even get to learn from it, and then on top of that we keep making the same mistake over and over, right? To sum this whole video up, family, you need to be mindful and pay attention to what you're doing with your money. All right? Be intentional. Have a budget. Don't just spend the money anywhere. Don't let your money come in and then it's just gone and you don't know what happened to it. No. For me, when my money comes in, I know exactly where it's going because I have a budget. And then I know exactly how much I have for me to spend and do leisure activities. And I know when that money is gone, well, that's it until I get more money, right? You got to have that discipline, family. As always, don't just watch. Go implement these tips. You know what I'm saying? Change your life. You know what I'm saying? And I'll see y'all next video. It's all love, peace, peace, fam.